Hey everybody, it's Danielle and it's Monday night. I'm making dinner. I'm making some spaghetti squash boats and I thought I would take you along for the journey. I originally got this idea from Laura in the kitchen. I follow her on YouTube. I'll link her video below, but I am doing some modifications to it and I thought maybe it'd be worth a share. So anyways, what I've done so far is I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I have I would say about a medium-sized spaghetti squash that I cut in half, and I took all of the crap and seeds out of the middle, so they look like that. I'm sure you've all seen spaghetti squash. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub it down with oil, and my neighbor, she actually gave me this infused olive oil with garlic, so I think it might be really good, and my hands are clean, so I'm just going to put a little bit on here and kind of rub it all along inside. I don't want to get it too wet because I don't want anything to be soggy, but I don't want it to dry out either. So 1/2, oh, you can also salt and pepper it if you want, which I should have left one hand clean, but that's okay. I will wipe off my hands and salt and pepper it before I stick it in the oven. And so you want to stick it in the oven for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast your oven cooks or how much it heats up. But anyways, you want to get it to the point where you can fork out the spaghetti really easy. So I'm going to salt and pepper this, put it upside down, and let it cook. So right now I'm just working on my filling for the spaghetti squash, which is in the oven cooking away. I have a pound of Trader Joe's ground turkey, which you can use whatever ground turkey you want. And what I did before I put it in there is I threw down probably about a tablespoon of the olive oil. And again, this is the garlic one. You can use whatever you want. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to cook this till it's probably about 80% done. And then I'm going to throw in half a bag of broccoli florets. These are the frozen ones, obviously. And I'm going to cook them through. And I'll probably salt and pepper it a little bit just to give it a little bit more flavor. I don't like to go overboard with salt, but I do like it to have some flavor. Although one would think that I would be all about the salt. I'm not. Okay, I just want to share with you what I'm using for the filling. I have a pound of ground turkey. I have a bag of broccoli florets, which I'm only going to use about half of it. I'm going to use 1/4 of a cup of mozzarella and 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan. I also have a half a stick of fat-free cream cheese, and I do have some salt and pepper for taste. So that's what's going to be in the filling for our spaghetti squash. Okay, so this is what I've done so far. I've cooked the turkey. I took half of the bag of broccoli florets. I've actually chopped them up before I threw them in with the turkey, just because the florets are like rather large. And if you like large florets, don't bother cutting them up. I just thought it'd be a little bit much to go into the spaghetti squash. So right now what I have cooking on a medium heat is half a block of fat-free cream cheese, and I'm just letting that go until it melts down. I did add a little bit more olive oil to the pan, just so, you know, things don't stick and things don't get too hot and burn. Let's see here. I'm also, oh, that melted rather nicely. I am going to go ahead and throw in 1/4 a cup of mozzarella, so done. And I'm going to add just a little bit more pink salt and a little bit of black pepper. And I'm going to take it off the burner once the cheese melts. And then we will go ahead and assemble whenever our squash comes out of the oven. So we're back, and the spaghetti squash was in the oven for about 40 minutes at 400 degrees. I let it sit for probably about 15-20 minutes. It's still really hot to the touch. I did scrape out one of them and I added it in with the turkey cream cheese, and broccoli. And I'm gonna go ahead and scrape out the other one, and this is pretty much what you want. As you can see, I probably could have took it out a little bit sooner. Oops, it's a little. But basically what you're gonna do is just clean this out, kind of leave a little bit because we're gonna fill these back up and you don't want it to be super flimsy. So you wanna have at least a little bit of a thicker border to help support the weight that we're gonna put back in here. So I'm gonna clear this out, throw it in the pot, mix it all up, and then I'm gonna distribute them in between the two halves. So stay tuned. So this is what it's gonna look like once we fill the shells back up. I took 1/3 cup of Parmesan and sprinkled it over each of them. Well, let me rephrase that. I divided up 1/3 cup of Parmesan over both halves. And I also did sprinkle a little bit of mozzarella, a little extra. I didn't measure it out. I just threw just a little bit extra on just to give it that little more gooiness, I guess you can say. So I'm gonna put this back in the oven. I still have it preheated at 400 degrees from when we cooked it earlier. So I'm probably just gonna leave it in there for maybe about 10 minutes or so until the cheese melts on the top. So as I'm talking to you with my bare paws. Anyways, so that's what we're gonna do. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done and how I measure it out. All right, so we are done. We had this in the oven for about 10 minutes. The last couple of minutes I did put it on broil just to kind of get a little bit of a crunch with the cheese. This one has been already picked at. I did my scale and I have 4.5 ounces in my ramekin, and I'm gonna serve up my husband's in a regular size bowl, and that's it. I'm gonna do my best to get the stats and put them up here on the side so that way you guys can have it and hopefully you make it. And so that's it. We're gonna watch some Dirty John. I don't know if any of you guys watch that. If you do, let me know. And yeah, that's it. Have a great night.